BMW M4 versus Audi RS5, almost 1000 horsepower in this comparison review. You wanted to see more comparisons? Well, that's what you get. Let's go. Well, it's not too easy to get out here when we park the cars directly next to each other, but the cool thing about coupes here is you just lower the window, can get out like this in narrow parking lots, and then usually have this comfort close function, so you hold the close key and then the window goes up, yeah, and then you're in and out in an easy way without damaging the other precious vehicle. Please subscribe to us if you haven't done so far and leave us a thumbs up if you like this video. Here, right or left, the BMW, yeah, clearly Thomas blue color for me. I'm also wearing the blue jacket, but it doesn't mean that I'm biased towards the BMW. Let's see how that one turns out. Double kidney, huge vertical and horizontal, really big dimension. But if you compare the Audi, I mean, this is also a big front grille, so yeah, meanwhile we know that this is a very large one. Headlamps start with LED with both vehicles. However, here optional the laser light at the BMW, but this is not the laser light. This is the base LED for the M4, and there you see the daytime running light is also not that accentuated. It would look, a little bit more accentuated than with the optional lighting. And carbon fiber package we have here today for the M4. Whereas with the Audi RS5 we have a little bit more angular Audi design look. Matrix LED is standard here, and optional there is the laser light in this vehicle here today, and also with the carbon fiber package. Huge front grille as well, black accentuations, high gloss black, and this Ur Quattro quotes from the first Quattro vehicle by Audi, this design, but it's it's closed here in this case. Well, what do you think? What would be your first design pick when looking at this front? Really looking forward to your feedback. What an exciting episode. I mean, Autogefühl means car feeling, and surely these cars do fit to our main channel slogan. 4.72 m or 186 inches in the length for the Audi RS5, whereas we go 8 centimeters or 3 inches longer with the BMW M4. But definitely both in the very same segment, so approximately the same. Also pricing wise, approximately the same. You start less than 100,000 euros for both vehicles, and with more extra equipment both over 100,000 euros or dollars, whereas the M4 is a couple of thousand euros less expensive actually. Interesting. Wheels start usually with the M4, 18 inch in the front, 19 inch in the rear, and then optional 19 inch in the front or 20 inch in the rear for the M4 competition, for example, as standard. Here, however, winter tires, 19 inch front and the rear in case you wonder. And when you go for the optional ceramic brakes, we have them here in the front and in the back, whereas with the RS5, when you go for the optional ceramic brakes, you only have them in the front, but then they're of course also less expensive. Well, it looks a little bit small than for the normal brakes in the rear in comparison then. As for the suspension, it's interesting, both start with a fixed sport suspension, and if you want a different ride or more comfortable ride or more variety between sportiness and comfort, here you can go for the DRC. We also have it here today. That's a dynamic ride control, and then you can have 3 different settings from comfort, normal and sporty, whereas with the BMW M4 the option there is an adaptive suspension that also has settings, but is always within the settings, varying between. So suspension wise it sounds like it's more comfortable with the M4, but effectively driving wise we really have to say the M4 feels stiffer. But more of that in the driving part very soon. You can get a carbon fiber roof for both vehicles or a panoramic roof. Here in this case today we have a carbon fiber roof for the M4, whereas we have a just closed roof for the RS5. Let's get towards the rear. This is really interesting. Both have a carbon fiber lip then here in this carbon package, and a nice LED signature for both vehicles. Audi once again more rectangular design, whereas the BMW a little bit more sensual swinging lines here, and in the lower part both with a huge diffuser. And with the BMW M4 we have 4 pipes here, very visible, And with the Audi, this is the optional sports exhaust. Here you can see with the black pipe, 2 big pipes, but on the inside they're also split and you can clearly see the exhaust valve. V6 versus inline 6, this is the question for the day. So 3-liter inline 6-cylinder with the BMW M4, 480 horsepower, usually 510 horsepower today with the competition package. And rear-wheel drive only for this model, but however you can also get an all-wheel drive model if you want at a later stage. Whereas the Audi RS5 is always all-wheel drive, quattro, 40% front, 6% in the rear is the standard distribution. Here we have 450 horsepower, so a little bit less horsepower. However, the acceleration figures both 3.9 seconds. In this case here, again, the all-wheel drive model of the M4 will be the fastest then. If you compare the Newton meter figures, here 600 Newton meters of torque, whereas the BMW M4 goes with 550 in the standard model or 650, then more here in the competition model. And design-wise, well, you see here this RS carbon fiber covering, 500 euros extra if you want that, and then this looks better than this does. No Autogefühl comparison without the key fobs. Well, in this case a little bit unfair because this is an optional key fob here of the BMW M4. You can also get a normal one and you also get a secondary normal one with the vehicle if you order this special one. The Audi here quite slim and light, but both from high quality. And door closing sounds here with the Audi today. And then with the M4. I would say the Audi sound a little bit better, or what do you think? Let's start the interior with the BMW M4. You can see here the M steering wheel with the contrast stitches on the inside, carbon fiber use, shifting pedals here also with the carbon fiber cover, 12.3-inch digital instruments as standard, and you cannot configure that much on them. And the seat either comes with a normal sport seat or this one here in a special performance package with the bucket seat. Some Alcantara use, but still a lot of animal skin use. But it looks really, really fancy. But will it offer some comfort? We will soon check that one out. Let's take a look at the RS5 in comparison. So this sport seat here is standard, so there's no option. But usually it would come with Alcantara on the inside, so a wider Alcantara surface for the Audi. That's definitely better than in the M4. And we also have this lovely Alcantara steering wheel here. That's really my favorite RS badge and just offers the best grip, and I would always go for this one. Also 12.3-inch digital instruments, and here with Audi you can adjust them a little bit more. Let's get inside the BMW M4. Of course a shoe tab here, famous. And well, headroom wise no problem with 1m86 or 6'1", and well, this seat here is really, really stiff everywhere. It's really suitable for the racetrack, and the moment you sit here it's like, oh, I can't drive for a longer time in this one. But the funny thing is that on long term, it's of course not the most comfortable vehicle overall, but these optional sport seats are more comfortable than the base sport seats, for whatever reason. The only thing is here, you know, this stiff carbon fiber part here in the middle, right here. Yeah, I'm not so sure. I don't need a carbon fiber between my legs to have something stiff between my legs. Oh. So, and then steering wheel up and down, in and out, smooth process. However, the form is to me not that pleasing than with the Audi RS5. This M steering wheel form is a little bit thicker in the upper areas. Interesting that we have these configurable M buttons here, left and right side, so you can adjust them M1 or M2 and have really sporty settings on them then. And digital instruments, once again, they're actually quite good to read. You have also an optional head-up display. Middle part here, 10-inch central screen. Latest voice input, that's better with the BMW. The map is really responsive, I like that. And Apple CarPlay and Android Auto is wireless only. And you can also have the M menu here with all the settings. Configure your M1 and M2 settings and engine, transmission, chassis, steering, brake, DSC. Really individualizable, this vehicle. Climate unit, gladly still with a manual control right here. I like that. Carbon fiber use for the middle area here, middle console, and then it's an inductive charging pad. The Apple CarPlay or Android Auto is only wirelessly, and sometimes that's a little bit annoying because the connection, sometimes just for a brief of a second, is getting lost when hearing music, and to me that's really annoying. I prefer that when you still have the cable option. Interesting also, this area, you can not only use the touchscreen but also have it here while driving, for example, this turning and pressing knob with some hotkeys. Here you can adjust the shifting characteristics and also go to the M mode and the setup. So this car can be individualized for the racetrack. That's the special thing. A little bit more complicated in the user interface than the Audi. And some more space underneath with a USB-C charger. And one detail saying I'm the racier car of both. Here, this top part here of the head restraint, you can remove that with, pulling some screws. And then you can have your helmet inside the vehicle without, hitting this here. So to make it even slimmer. Again, one detail that says the M4 is the more racy car in comparison. And sitting in the rear, here the BMW M4 works headroom-wise when I'm a little bit cramped, but legroom-wise, this is important. It works with 4 tall adults overall in the vehicle. These bucket seats are very slim. Getting inside the Audi RS5. And there is a feature here which also shows that this car is more leaning towards a little bit more comfort. Well, you remember with the M4, we could put out a part in the head restraint to make it racier for wearing a helmet on the racetrack. That's not possible here. But what's possible then here is, close the door, and then here, there's this seatbelt reacher, so you can easily get the seatbelt. That does not exist for the M4. And that, again, shows, these small little nuances make the difference where the RS5 goes a little bit more in the comfort direction and the M4 a little bit more goes in the racy direction. Sitting here in the RS5 is also a big difference. You sit higher, of course, especially if you have the bucket seats with the M4. In these standard performance seats with the RS5, you feel you're just higher, not that low on the road, and that again speaks for this, small difference. Steering wheel, I love the Alcantara steering wheel, up and down, in and out, and to me it has the better size. It's smaller, it's slimmer. The steering wheel is racier. The Audi Virtual Cockpit 12.3 inch is fancier. You can still get analog gauges here as standard, but you should go for these ones because then you can have the map all over the place or just in this view. So you're just more flexible with that, and it's also a very crystal clear view. And also a head-up display is available. Then in the middle part, a new 10-inch screen since the facelift of the RS5 Coupe both, and also for the Sportback. Easy to control, touch only, but the user interface is really straightforward. And you can also individualize your RS buttons, for example, because in the RS mode, which you can set on the steering wheel, you can go to the Audi Drive Select, and then here RS1 and RS2, and there can also change the different settings. So, like a similar system than BMW is using, just that you have one RS button for that on the steering wheel. GPS is also really responsive and a clear display, and Apple CarPlay and Auto is here available both wirelessly and with a cable. And well, sorry BMW, but this is the reason why the Audi wins for me in the interior. Yeah, I just love this AC unit. What a nice sound when turning it, and it's just so easy and straightforward to use. Yeah, and this is also quite fancy with the hovering functions right there. So to me, the Audi overall a more straightforward user interface. Lower part than USB-A device, adaptive cup holders, and then nice Alcantara covering also here for the automatic shifting lever. Yeah, however, the BMW would also be available as a manual. That is not possible here. And one of the unknown awesome details in the Audi is here, the cup holders are designed in a way, together with the key, that the key directly fits in here and is really fixed and well stored. Well, and rear seating in the RS5 Coupe, both headroom-wise and legroom-wise, not that good as in the BMW M4 Coupe. And the reason is here, the thick seats, especially in comparison to the bucket seats. So if you would have the M4 with the normal sport seats, the difference wouldn't be that large. But then the difference here to the M4 with bucket seats to here, clearly I cannot sit well here, and also headroom-wise it gets close, yeah. So not really 4 tall adult proof here in the RS5 Coupe. That's the reason while Audi is offering the RS5 Sport back then. So what can you load in these performance mid-size coupes? Let's compare the trunks or the boots. Here, the width is a little bit less than a meter or less than 40 inches. The length here in the M4 is 36 inches or around 90 centimeters. So that's shorter than in the RS5. However, the height here is quite good. This is 20 inches or around 50 centimeters. Whereas now in the RS5, and you see we folded also seats with both vehicles, that's possible. Here, the RS5 is longer, yeah, the normal trunk length, so almost a meter or almost 40 inches. The width is also a little bit more. However, it's a little bit less deep. So here 19 inches or a little bit less than 50 centimeters. So that's the difference. Overall, I have to say then the RS5 a little bit better usable in the trunk.